I think it is time to flip the screen, get the ticker on ticking for the first segment of the day. Mis compadres, RMags, best bets of the day. Already told you he's got 2 NBA plays coming at you, so turn that volume way on up. Not too high if you are at work, because sometimes we do get a little wild. Outside of that, partner, let it rip, let him have it. And as always, you have the floor.
All right, my man. As you so kindly mentioned, I've got 2 out of the NBA again, getting my lick back. Different spots than last night is concerned, as far as the the road favorites in this one.
Yeah.
Taking things off, taking a home dog in this one actually. Golden State and Orlando Magic. Taking the Orlando Magic plus the 7.5. This one is down from 8.5 at open, partner. But plain and simple, the story on this one. And with March Madness going on this weekend, it would not shock me at all because it took me a second to remember. I don't know if everyone realizes that Steph Curry's out for the foreseeable future, man. And this line and the previous line or two that the Warriors have kind of reflected that. They are 2-5 straight up this season without Steph Curry. So 2-5 straight up out of 7 games. Not exactly a profitable spot there. 2-5 ATS as well. But the plain and simple of it, this Magic team is perceived as really, really bad, and that's why you have this line still so high despite no Steph. Last game here without Steph, Warriors lost outright to the Spurs as 6.5-point favorites. Now you kick it up a point with the Magic being a lesser team than that Spurs team. I think the Magic have a chance to win this game outright. I might sprinkle a little bit on the money line here. Because without Steph, their offense just doesn't have that same flow. Klay Thompson is starting to find some momentum, but it's not the type of momentum to where he can, solely rely on him to carry your offense, right? And same thing with Draymond Green. Without, obviously, Draymond Green's solid, but without that offensive firepower from Steph, their offense becomes a little bit stagnant with him on the floor. So I think this Magic team, like I said, can absolutely cover this number and even win. I like it down to 5.5 if it gets that far and people start to pour money on the Magic, or we'd see some reverse line movement because the majority of the money actually is pretty heavily on the Warriors in this one, despite no Steph here. Few trends, and then I'll move on to the next one. Orlando, 4-1 last 5 as a dog, 8-3 last 11 on one-day rest, 5-2 last 7 versus a team with a winning record, which when you've got these bad teams, or at least teams with these bad records, you got to see what their numbers are against these good teams, or at least perceived good teams. So I think we've got a good spot there. Golden State, on the other hand, in the flip side, these good teams against really bad teams, you got to check out some of these trends. 3-8 out of the last 11 following a straight-up loss, so in a bounce-back spot, have not been fantastic. 2-6-2 last 10 as a favorite, so overvalued the last 10 games. 2-6-1 last 9 versus a team with a losing straight-up record, so that's a big one for me. 2-6-1 last 9 versus a team with a losing record. And 3-10-1 last 14 as a as a road favorite, excuse me. So especially on the road here in their favor, that's a big overvalued spot, my man. So plain and simple, without Steph Curry, I think the Magic hang with them. And like I said, potentially win this game. So give me the Magic plus 7.5 to kick things off, my friend.
Number 1, I don't know shit about fuck when it comes to the NBA. Number 2, I actually really like this number, and I like where your head's at 150% with this one. I got no qualms, no quarries whatsoever, dude. You know me when it comes to laying heavy chalk, and also when it comes to backing dogs in this spot. If I may make a humble observation, it seems like sometimes when you've gotten into trouble in the old NBA, it has not been in the underdog spot. It's been more in the lay in the wood spot. So I really like where you're at here. And then number 3 or number 2 or number 4, wherever the fuck I'm at this point in time, say it with us, kids. Severe monetary liability. You're damn right. We got 47% of bets, 82% actual money coming in on the Golden State Warriors minus 7.5. Has dropped down from 8.5 at open, and then 97% of money coming in on that money line. Partner, I'm in the boat. I'm with you, dude, and I think Orlando could potentially pull off the upset with no Steph here tonight. So RMags first best bet of the day. Give it all to me. We got the Orlando Magic plus 7.5. Partner, unless you got anything else for number 1, how about number 2?
All right, number 2, sticking to coming on over to our neck of the woods, partner. This one is in Milwaukee. Excuse me, and I'm not taking the spread on this one, so not homering out on this one for sure. But I'm going to the Bulls and Bucks game, and I'm actually taking the under in this one. 234.5 is what I caught it. The line has been moving up, partner, but I think it's a hot load of bullshit if you ask me. This Bulls defense has a little bit, and I think is especially going to, and I think you're going to see it here tonight. Bulls defense is going to start improving, even despite being on a back-to-back where they had last night. They had a nice little rest before that, and as I mentioned, they kind of put the foot on the gas pedal and had a chance to rest their guys at the end of that game. Get ready for tonight. So I think that's going to matter here tonight. I don't think there's going to be a ton of fatigue because this, as maybe not as much as last night with Toronto kind of nipping at their heels, they're chasing the Bucks in this spot, and they can still. I think they're only 2 games behind the Bucks. They are 2 games behind the Bucks as far as the playoff seeding is concerned. So if they win this one, man, there's not a crazy case for them to get back into the top 3-4 teams here in the East. Not saying that the top 3 or 4 team talent wise necessarily, but as far as the seeding, there's no craziness that you can shake a stick at that they can do that. So I think they've got a good chance of that tonight. Patrick Williams, as I mentioned, is back tonight, and that matters. Even if he only plays 20 minutes like he played last night, that matters. It mattered with Pascal Siakam. Ended up having 22, but when Patrick Williams was on the floor, was really solid against Pascal Siakam. I think that's going to matter against Giannis. Not saying he locks down Giannis, but he is at least very, very good at neutralizing these guys and slowing them down, getting them off their rhythm, and keeping this a little bit lower scoring game. Big thing as far as this one is concerned, last meeting earlier, I believe it was in February, actually, no, earlier this month, excuse me, a lot of these defensive pieces for the Bulls were out. Patrick Williams obviously has been out a long time. Caruso was also out in that game. It was a 118-112 game, and that seems like people are expecting that same type of game here tonight. The last meeting before that, early January, it was in Milwaukee, 94-90. Caruso was in. No Patrick Williams, but with him back in tonight, it was a hard-nosed, scrappy game, man. That was a game where Grayson Allen knocked Alex Caruso out for a month and a half or so. Not saying it gets that chippy necessarily, but I think it's going to be a chippy, low-scoring, scrappy defensive game, man. And the Bulls, kind of with their backs against the wall, I think their best chance of winning is turning this into a kind of a, not dirty necessarily, but just a kind of grimy, low-scoring, slow-paced game. So I think this number is crazy wrong, man. And no Middleton is the last point before I get into some trends. That's going to cause this offense to be a little off kilter a little bit, especially with if this game goes the way I said it will. So a handful of trends that I really like, and then I'll be all done. Chicago under is 4-0 last 4 following a straight up win. So when they're rolling along, that defense steps up in back-to-back situations. 7-1 last 8 on Tuesday. I don't know if that's anything or not, but 7-1 to the under last 8 on Tuesday. Yep. 4-1 last 5 to the under versus team with a win percentage above 600. So I know everyone's talked about they've been terrible against these bad teams. These games have been staying under, though. 14-6-1 last 21 to the under as a road dog. Obviously, you have that here today, 7-point spread. I think that's a big one here again today. And Milwaukee, 5-0 to the under last 5 versus a team with a winning record as well. 6-2 last 8 on 2 days rest. I think that's another big one that people are kind of overlooking a little bit. They've got some nice rest. Their defense should show up as well tonight. And between these two teams, the under is 5-1 last 6 meetings between these two, 4-1 last 5 in Milwaukee. So for whatever reason, when they're in Milwaukee, it tends to be a little bit lower scoring. Obviously, they're in Milwaukee tonight. From a homer perspective, I think the Bulls can cover this 7, but that was definitely going to be more of a homer pick. I don't think it is here on the under. I'm going 234.5 to the under in the Bulls and Bucks game, my friend.
Number 1, I don't know shit about fuck when it comes to the NBA. Number 2, I love everything you're saying. I'm 99% sold. That 1% that stops me is it still does feel like a little bit of a sharp play on that over. There's only about 68% of bets, or 68% of money, 34% of bets. So that, especially with that 2-point movement, 232 to 234, that gives me just a little pause.
That's fair.
Just a little.
That's fair.
But, if that gets into the 70-plus, especially 75-80 range, I'm calling that severe monetary liability. I'm calling that bullshit, and I think this one stays in the 220 range. So I like where your head's at. I'm going to stay away from this one for now. Question mark?
No,
I think
fair,
so,
man.
but I do honestly think I'm probably going to end up getting involved because I think that money and bet split could fucking flip by the time that this bad boy tips off at 7 p.m. Central Time. So, hey, if you guys want to wait around too, you don't want to wait around, hammer it in right now. Maybe it drops down again. Who the hell knows? Maybe you get an excellent value right now. I don't know. It's not my play. It's RMags' second best bet of the day, and it's the Chicago Bulls against the Milwaukee Bucks under 234. Oh my!
Look what I got back, baby.
Fucking. Oh, dude, the vibes are immaculate.
I don't have any
the vibes are immaculate. No way.
How about this?
How
My
you gonna
phone's
do
staying
that to
here.
me? How you gonna do that to me? How you just gonna fucking? How you just gonna out of nowhere just pull that in the screen, folks? If you are not familiar with what was once a golden hammer, now kind of a silver hammer, but still a fucking hammer nonetheless. Oh my gosh, it is back live in primetime. Hammer them both in, kids.
Hey,
there you go.
hey.
The vibes are here.
Wasn't a good baseball hammer, I'll admit. Not going to see it for baseball season.
Maybe it is.
I don't
maybe
think.
it
Maybe
is.
it is. Who knows?
Maybe it is. Maybe it was just bullshit. Maybe
I think it was just bullshit.
last
The
year.
hammer's back, dude. Look at it. All its glory, dude.
Oh boy.
Fuck.
Oh
You want
boy.
it smaller?
Oh
Want it smaller?
boy.
Need a smaller hammer for a baby play? You got a screwdriver and a hammer.
I fucking love it, dude. I fucking love it. The hammer is back in action. We're ready to keep hammering in best bets of the day.
Little
Okay.
hammer ASMR.
Anything else you got in regards to your best bets of the day, good sir?
No, I do not. That is all I got.
10-4, you said a little hammer ASMR. You're a fucking coon. All right, there we go.
I like to hold on to it. It feels good to hold on to it, but my hands stink like fucking like metal whenever I do.
Well, it's kind of made of metal, and
I know, I'm just saying,
it's
I
got
get
whatever
why.
that
I get
whatever
why. I
that
get
gold
why, yeah.
shit was that was on there is just
It's on my
your old
hands, yeah.
sweaty hands just get that shit rubbed right off on there. So that's why she's turned silver, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But the more you know.